Welcome to our channel. Today, we're diving into a topic that affects millions of people worldwide living with mental illness. We'll explore the challenges, coping strategies, and the journey towards finding hope. You know, it's like we often hear about mental health in passing, but rarely do we get the chance to really understand what it's like to live with these conditions day in and day out. That's what we want to do today, to really listen to the experiences of those living with mental illness and learn from their resilience. Let's talk about emotional struggles. Imagine feeling like you're on a roller coaster, but you can't get off. One day you're up, feeling hopeful, maybe even happy. The next you're down, drowning in sadness or consumed by anxiety. It can be difficult to explain to others why you're feeling this way. There's not always a clear reason, no single event that triggers these shifts. It's just the reality of living with a mental illness.
For some, it's the persistent sadness that lingers like a shadow. For others, it's the relentless grip of anxiety, a constant worry. And then there's the irritability, feeling that everything is too much to handle. It's like your emotions have a mind of their own, and you're just along for the ride.
Mental illness doesn't just affect our emotions, it impacts how we think too. Imagine trying to focus on a book when your mind is racing with worries and intrusive thoughts. It's like trying to have a conversation in a crowded room. You hear the words, but they don't make sense.
For those with depression, concentrating, remembering, and making decisions can be a struggle. It's like your brain is in slow motion, and everything feels like an uphill battle. For those with ADHD, it's like having a million tabs open, all vying for attention. Focusing on one thing can feel impossible, and simple tasks seem insurmountable.
Negative thought patterns are unwelcome guests that refuse to leave. They tell you you're not good enough, that you'll never amount to anything. These thoughts can be powerful, and it's easy to get caught in their web. But these thoughts don't define who we are. They're part of the illness, not a reflection of our worth. We often think of mental illness as something that exists solely in our minds. But the truth is, it can manifest in very real physical ways. It's like our bodies keep score of the emotional and mental battles we're fighting on the inside. Fatigue is a common symptom, a bone-deep exhaustion that sleep just can't seem to cure. It's like your body is running a marathon every day, even when you're just trying to get through the basics. And on the flip side, there's insomnia, the inability to quiet the mind and find rest, no matter how exhausted you are. Then there are the changes in appetite. Some people find themselves eating more than usual, seeking comfort in food, while others lose their appetite entirely, their bodies forgetting to send hunger signals amidst the emotional turmoil. These changes in eating habits can lead to fluctuations in weight, which can further impact self-esteem and body image. It's important to remember that these physical symptoms are not imaginary, they're real, and they can be incredibly debilitating. It's like your body is trying to tell you that something is wrong, that you need to slow down, to take care of yourself.
Living with a mental illness can be incredibly isolating. It's like there's an invisible wall separating you from the rest of the world, making it difficult to connect with others, even those you love the most.
The stigma surrounding mental illness can make it feel impossible to talk openly about what you're going through for fear of judgment or rejection.
So you suffer in silence, putting on a brave face for the world while battling your demons behind closed doors. Mood swings can make it challenging to maintain relationships. One minute you're laughing and joking with friends, the next you're withdrawn and irritable, pushing them away without even realizing it.
It's like your emotions have a mind of their own and you're constantly playing catch-up, trying to explain behavior that even you don't understand.
And then there's the guilt. The feeling that you're a burden to others, that you're not fun to be around anymore. It's a vicious cycle. The isolation feeds the negative thoughts, which in turn makes it even harder to reach out and connect.
Imagine trying to concentrate on a work presentation when your mind is consumed by anxiety, or trying to sit through a lecture when depression has robbed you of your ability to focus. For many people living with mental illness, the challenges extend beyond the personal sphere and impact their ability to function in everyday settings like work and school. Cognitive difficulties like those experienced with depression or ADHD can make it incredibly challenging to keep up with the demands of a job or academic program. Simple tasks can feel overwhelming, deadlines loom large, and the pressure to perform can exacerbate existing symptoms. And then there's the issue of disclosure. Should you tell your employer or professors about your mental illness? There's always the fear of discrimination, of being seen as weak or incapable. But on the other hand, disclosing your condition might allow you to access support and accommodations that could make a world of difference. It's a difficult decision, and there's no right or wrong answer. It's about weighing the risks and benefits and ultimately doing what feels right for you. If you found this video helpful, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. And don't forget to leave a comment below sharing your thoughts and experiences. Imagine being judged, not for your actions or your character, but for an illness you didn't choose. That's the reality for millions of people living with mental illness.
The stigma surrounding these conditions is pervasive, often preventing individuals from seeking the help they need for fear of being labeled or ostracized. It's the whispers behind your back, the questioning looks, the jokes that cut deep even when they're not intended to.
It's the feeling that you have to constantly prove your worth to overcompensate for a perceived weakness.
And perhaps the most insidious form of stigma is self-stigma, the internalization of these negative beliefs. It's the voice inside your head that tells you you're flawed, that you're not good enough, that you're somehow responsible for your illness.
This internalized shame can be incredibly damaging, preventing individuals from seeking help, sabotaging their recovery efforts, and perpetuating a cycle of silence and suffering. Chapter 7. Navigating the Healthcare Maze. Finding appropriate and affordable mental health care can feel like navigating a maze blindfolded. There are long wait lists, high costs, and a shortage of qualified mental health professionals, especially in underserved communities. It's like the system itself is another hurdle to overcome, adding to the burden of those who are already struggling. And even when you do manage to access care, finding the right treatment plan can be a process of trial and error. Medications can have side effects, therapy can be emotionally draining, and it can take time to find the right combination that works for you. It's not a one-size-fits-all approach, and it requires patience, persistence, and a willingness to advocate for your own needs. It's important to remember that you're not alone in this journey. There are resources available, organizations dedicated to supporting individuals with mental illness and connecting them with the care they deserve.
Living with a mental illness is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about learning to manage your condition, to develop coping mechanisms that work for you, and to build a life that is full and meaningful, even in the face of challenges. One of the most important things you can do is build a support system. Surround yourself with people who understand, who listen without judgment, and who offer encouragement and support when you need it most. Whether it's family, friends, a support group, or a therapist, having people to lean on can make all the difference. Self-care is also crucial. This looks different for everyone, but it might include things like exercise, healthy eating, mindfulness, spending time in nature, or engaging in hobbies that bring you joy. It's about prioritizing your well-being, both physical and mental, and making time for the things that nourish your soul.
Living with a mental illness can be incredibly challenging, but it can also be a catalyst for profound personal growth. It's like the experience, as difficult as it may be, has a way of cracking you open, forcing you to confront your vulnerabilities and ultimately to become a more compassionate and understanding human being. You develop a deep empathy for others who are struggling, even if their struggles look different from your own. You learn to listen with your heart, to offer support without judgment, and to meet people where they are. And you learn to appreciate the small things, the moments of joy that peek through the darkness. You develop a resilience that you never knew you had, a strength that comes from facing your fears and choosing to keep going even when it's hard. Recovery from mental illness is not a straight line. There will be setbacks, there will be days when you feel like you're taking 2 steps back for every 1 step forward. But it's important to remember that progress is still progress, no matter how small it may seem. Hope is not a passive emotion, it's an active choice, a decision to keep fighting, to keep believing that things can get better. And recovery is not about being cured, but about learning to live a full and meaningful life, even with a mental illness. It's about finding purpose in your experiences, using your story to advocate for others, to break down stigma, and to create a world where mental health is treated with the same importance as physical health. Thank you for watching. Remember, living with mental illness is a journey, and with the right support and strategies, it is possible to lead a fulfilling life. If you or someone you know is struggling, don't hesitate to seek help. There is no shame in asking for support and acknowledging that you need a little extra help to navigate the challenges life throws your way. Stay strong and take care. Subscribe, like, comment, and turn on notifications.